One of the biggest lies that women believe, it is that when he's having sex with you, he's falling in love. Ladies, he's not. Now, I'm going to explain why that is and a couple others. But I'm Bob Grant, I'm a relationship expert and best-selling author. And these lies, the problem with them is if you believe them, it causes you to act a certain way. You base that on what you believe and you act and give to him and do things for him because you assume that your belief is the way he's going to react. Now, let's start off with that first one as to why. Sex for a man is almost entirely dependent upon the degree of investment he has made in the relationship. So if we back that up, sex on the first date, not a lot of investment. Not a lot of investment in time, money, effort, anything. Feels great, awesome, fantastic, but he's not really committed to you. I'm not saying you are either if it's the first date. But just because you have sex with him doesn't mean that he's going to feel anything special with it, except for it was a lot of fun. Sex on the wedding night, much different. Gone through the process, seen your ups and downs, hopefully, had some disagreements, worked through them. He has emotionally, to some degree financially, logistically, he has factored you into his life. You're in his mind is going to be around the rest of his life. And so therefore sex is going to take on a totally different meaning. Because what women forget, and this is not just a man saying this, is that men don't bond with sex the way women do. I mean, they bond depending on their degree of investment. So it's not that sex doesn't affect men. It's that sex doesn't have the overwhelming impact on men that it does women. At least they can compartmentalize it better. They can put that off into a distance. So I'm not saying it doesn't affect men. It certainly does. But I talk with women a lot of times that after 3 or 4 or 5 dates, pick a number, and the relationship's going well, they start sleeping with him, and they're feeling more and more connected. And they're assuming that he is too. He is not. I'm not saying he's not saying that he isn't. I'm not saying there's not exceptions to this. I'm sure there are men that can fall in love on the first date with no sex. But by and large, men do not bond with their bodies like women do. I'm not trying to be sexist with this. Just 2 different ways that your brain are wired. And so think of sex in terms with men is sex tends to be more like cement, and it tends to solidify the relationship where it's at now. So therefore, once you start having sex, I'm generalizing, is that the relationship's 2 or 3 months in, any sense of urgency or progression with him slows down. It doesn't mean that he will never get married. It doesn't mean that he's disinterested in you. It's that it doesn't rush things up or it doesn't speed things up. It doesn't bring a sense of closeness to him like it does to you. Because if you believe that it does, the problem with this lie is that you'll have more and more sex with him and you're anticipating he's experiencing the same things that you are. Again, he is not. So when I tell women, I say, please don't have sex with him till you get married. I have to get to know them before I can say that. And usually they have to ask. I don't just volunteer that. It's for this reason. It's that you don't know what you're playing with. You are giving a part of your body and your heart to him while he's still making up his mind, which I hate that for women. I think that's awful. Right. Number 2 lie. Ladies, he doesn't really care what you do for a living. And here's what I mean by that. It's not that he hates what you do. It's you don't get the status boost for what you do like men do. I saw a recent survey and it talked about what are the most influential careers that a man can have that was measured by high status for women. And to my surprise, it was being an attorney. Now, I don't know, leave me a comment, let me know if you think that's true or not, but that surprised me. But a man that's an attorney apparently gets a higher status boost than other things. Doctor was up there, accountant may have been, I'm not sure. But those things added to his prestige. Those things did not with the woman, as far as from a man's perspective. It's not that he doesn't admire those things. My father was a doctor, and so I'd heard stories growing up about medical school and the studying he had to do. Anyone to me, man, woman, whoever, that goes through medical school has my admiration. I still don't see how anyone becomes a doctor with all the stuff they had to learn, from calculus to anatomy and the professors. So I get that. It's impressive. But that doesn't make a woman more desirable, per se. So that's not a put down. But see, if you think it is, what happens is you'll go into a relationship thinking that you gain extra status from it, And it will come across as being controlling, sometimes condescending. No one ever says this. I've just had clients that were doctors and attorneys, and they have to be careful in their relationship not to bring that authority they have in their work home with them. Doesn't mean they're not an equal, doesn't mean they're not a peer, but he doesn't view that she's a doctor, so she must know. No, he doesn't. He just views you as a partner. You having your status, you having that is something for you to be proud of. He can enjoy it with you. He can be impressed. I mean, I would be impressed. But that doesn't give you extra. And I'm saying that so that you don't over rely on that, so that you don't focus on that too much. Men can get away with this. Men can be a doctor. And when they go home, expect that status boost or bounce there, and she's impressed with that. That makes him arguably more desirable because he has a higher status thing with his job. And I'm not saying it's fair, but if we're honest with it, it doesn't, what I want, especially women, the doctors I'm thinking of, and I told you about my dad, because I would tell them, I'm like, I get it, I'm impressed, you're a doctor. I said, but if you carry that attitude with you, men get away with it on a date. It's not that men are intimidated by your success. That's one of the biggest myths, because men don't care enough to be intimidated. They don't, I mean, unless we're doing a medical debate or a debate on law or something like that, then they might be. But if anything else, that's why they're not as intimidated. They just want someone they can connect with that's a partner. If you're really smart, that's a bonus. That's fantastic. I mean, there's some men that might be intimidated, but they're intimidated by a woman in general. So what I ask women to do is to be careful of that, not to wear it and not to overuse it, not to over-rely on it. I'm not saying dumb yourself down, just in case I get a comment on that. I'm not saying it's not impressive. It's very impressive. But just be careful not to rely too much on that to make a connection with them. Third lie women believe is that if I disagree or if I'm disagreeable with him, that he won't love me, he'll leave. Problem with that is the way to compensate for that is I just either don't disagree or I just go along with what he wants. And what women are not told, in fairness to you, is that men don't fall in love with you unless you have a backbone, unless you can say no at times, unless you can stand up for yourself. Now, the idea is to be respectful with it. The idea is to be courteous. The idea is not to run all over him and prove you're the boss. But it's to you to have a good center for who you are. Why I ask women to pay attention to their emotions and what's going on with them is so that they can be responsible for their happiness. So they can know when a man's being rude, even if he doesn't mean to be. Even if he's trying his own way, but he's being gruff or he's not listening, he's not paying attention. So that she can speak up for herself, not just for setting of boundaries, but for what she needs, for what her preferences are, what she likes. When she does those things, then he actually starts to learn when he's coming across too strong, when he's maybe neglecting her. See, he needs that feedback. That's helpful to him because as a man is that, when I'm upset and maybe I want to yell, I mean, I don't, but let's just pretend I want to scream. So if I'm not screaming, I'm doing this. I'm talking like this. I'm not screaming. So to me, I feel like I'm under control now. I'm actually containing it, but you can hear the tone of my voice. It's really loud. And if you're like, really close to me, you don't know if I'm going to go off or scream. But see, I don't know that. When I'm doing it, I think I'm doing a great job of not screaming. So your feedback, you're letting me know, hey, are you upset about something? You're kind of loud. What's going on? This is sometimes happens with the men. When you say that, the response will be, I'm not loud, because see, to me, I'm not screaming. This is where the backbone part comes in. It's where you have to stand in your, people say stand in your truth, more specifically is don't change what you see. He is being loud. He's not screaming, but you can tell he's being louder than normal. And then you literally repeat to him and say, well, I know you're not screaming, but you are being a little loud. I'm not blaming you, but I'm asking. You're being loud, is something wrong? And see, oftentimes just that response, just that firmness there, see, it's respectful, it's nice, gives him a chance to realize how he's coming across. Because all of us, when we're upset, don't realize the degree of intensity that we're showing someone else. See, we're so worried about keeping it together and not exploding or not whatever, that we think we're doing a good job. And no one appreciates that I'm at 30% above normal versus 100% above normal. And when I get that feedback, I'm probably still coming across too strong. I'm probably coming across too much. are being overwhelming with it. So without that backbone, he won't get the message from him, and he can't actually love you because he won't know when he's coming across in a good way or a bad way, and he'll start to view you as weak, and he'll start to lose respect for you, and he'll start to take you for granted. So stay tuned for the next video, and be sure and hit the like and subscribe button. See you next time.